Welcome to my channel. This is an indication of some of the things that I cover on a regular basis in my videos. If you haven't already subscribed, please feel free to do so, and don't forget to click the little bell so that you'll get notified of future videos. Please feel free to share my videos on your social media, and I hope you enjoy the video which follows. Well, hello everybody. I guess as the title indicated, we're in pie making mode today. First, a little thank you to one of my subscribers who sent me a pie crust recipe, realizing I guess that I always have lots of difficulty with pie crusts. This one uses shortening instead of butter, and it stipulates not to use butter, not to use lard, but to use vegetable shortening. So we will see how it turns out. It makes a large batch. It says that it makes 5 crusts. I never trust myself with that sort of thing, so I will divide it into 4. I don't mind having a little bit left over, but when you run short, it is not good. Go through the list of ingredients. The first is all-purpose flour, 4 cups, and it stipulates that you spoon that into the cup and not sifting it or anything like that, or compacting it, I guess. So there's my 4 cups all out. 1 3/4 cups of vegetable shortening. I think the brand name I'm using is Fluffo. I put it in the fridge, not that that matters very much, I guess. A tablespoon of white vinegar, 2 teaspoons of salt, a tablespoon of sugar, 1/2 cup of water, and 1 large egg beaten. With me that was 2 banty eggs beaten, but the equivalent of 1 large egg. So I'll bring you in closer now and you can have a look at me trying to make this. Well, first we'll combine the dry ingredients, the sugar, oops, and the salt, and the flour. Mix those together. Now add the shortening, 1 3/4 cups, a lot of shortening, but as I say, it makes at least 4, possibly 5 shells, crusts for a 9-inch pie. This can be done with a fork if you don't have a pastry cutting gizmo. That seems to be pretty well cut into the flour, I guess. Now we combine the liquid ingredients, the egg, the water, and the vinegar. And those get added to the dry ingredients with the shortening all cut in. guess I didn't say, but this is a photocopy that Sandy sent me. Did I even mention Sandy's name? I don't remember now. One of my subscribers who sent me this recipe. And it appears to be out of Woman's Day magazine. I went online to see if I could find the same recipe online from Woman's Day, and there is one online, but it's not this. It's a much smaller recipe, and like the pâte brisée that I've made in the past, it also incorporates butter. So you'll just have to take notes, I guess. Not that it's terribly complicated. Well, I think that's pretty much brought together. I'll get a little flour on the bench here and divide this. I must say it's nice and soft at this point anyway. My hands aren't though. Well, I weighed it. I guess you can't see it on the scales there, but there it is. I weighed it and it weighs about 37 ounces, 37 and a half ounces, so I'm looking for around a 9 ounce in that area anyway, if I divide it into 4. So. As I said, it's supposed to make 5. Let's see what we got there. It's a little over. That's a little under. No. Yeah, not so bad, I guess. Form each one into a disc. And I will wrap those in plastic wrap, and they should go in the refrigerator, it says, for at least a half hour before you roll them out. I don't think it'll get as firm as one with butter, because shortening doesn't really get that firm in the refrigerator. So nevertheless, you rest it in the refrigerator for a half hour. Won't make you watch me wrap all 4 of them. And I'll bring you back shortly when we start preparing for the pie. Well, I do have a link to the recipe for the pear pie. I'm using up my Asian pears, which, as you know if you watched my previous video, are not very large, but I think I have enough of them to do the pie. What I'm doing is my version of the pie. If you want to make the pie, of course, you could use just the conventional pears, like Bartlett pears, or I guess there are other ones, I can't think of the names of them right now. Or you could buy yourself an Asian pears and do that. What I'm doing is I'm just cutting them in half, removing the stem, coring out the center, and putting them in acidulated water. That's just water with lemon juice in it, because these things go brown very quickly when exposed to air. The recipe, if you look at it, talks about peeling them. Well, by the time I stemmed, cored, and peeled these little things, there wouldn't be anything left. So mine will not be peeled, but hopefully will still taste good, and it gives me something to use up the Asian pears on. I hate to see them go to waste. There's quite a few to sit down and eat. I won't make you watch me carry on with this until I get all of my pears done. bring you back when I have finished. Time to roll out our first disc, I guess. The recipe says to cover your rolling pin with a stockinette, and I am surprised. I have one. My sister gave it to me as one of my Christmas gifts. I had no idea what to do with it. I've just had it covering this rolling pin since last Christmas. It says to rub it with flour. Very surprised when I read the recipe and it called for this thing, and I've actually got one. As I thought, this is still quite soft. Hopefully that's not a problem. Let's see what we can do here, I guess. I never seem to end up with round is my issue with rolling things out. Another reason why I guess I like to have extra. Just to pick that up, or is that stuck solid? Well, I guess I can still pick it up. It does roll out nicely. This is for a 9-inch pan, which I have here, I guess. Should have been a little more in some places and a little less in others would have been good, but it's me that's making this thing, so that'll do, I guess. I won't trim anything off yet. I can probably use some of the overhang. Okay, now I'll get the pears. Well, this is 1/3 cup of flour and 1/2 cup of sugar and a tablespoon of ground cinnamon. And the pears get mixed with that. They're pretty thoroughly coated, I think, anyway. I want to use all of the pears. Hopefully they'll fit in there. sure they will cook down. Won't be so full when it's done, but I don't have any other use for the pears, so they're all going in. And the remaining sugar, flour, and cinnamon, I'm sure that's flour is a thickening agent for all the juice that will come out of the pears. Hopefully it won't all be in the oven. Now, I'll fool around with that a bit, but then I'll get out another crust and do the top here. Just a little water to wet the edge of the first crust, so hopefully they seal together. Too thin in some places, I think. Try to roll this under the other one. Hope for the best, I guess. There's some there I should have cut off, I guess. There we go. The oven is preheating to 425 degrees Fahrenheit. That might be in Celsius, I'm not really sure. Just try to... I'm not fancy, as you can see. As long as it tastes good, I guess, huh? It bakes for 40 to 50 minutes, and it says if you're thinking it's getting a little too dark toward the end, the last 20 minutes you could cover the outside edges with foil to prevent it from burning. Well, such as it is, there it is. Bring you back and show you what it looks like when it comes out of the oven. One more thing I am going to do, it said to put some sugar on the crust, so I'm going to sprinkle a tablespoon of sugar on before it goes in the oven. Well, it's only been in the oven for a few minutes. I've cleaned up the bench and I've got a rack out to put it on. But as I was putting it in the oven, I remembered that I did not put the butter on top of the pears. The recipe calls for a couple of tablespoons of butter cut into small pieces and put on the pears. Well, I forgot, so mine is butterless. I don't think it'll make that much difference, but if you're reading the recipe, you'll notice that that's what it says. Well, I did put it on a half sheet pan, worried that it might be juicy and come out over the edge, but it didn't. Now it has to wait, I don't know, probably a couple of hours before I can get it cool enough to cut. In the meantime, Angel and I are going to go hiking. It is a gorgeous fall day here, 21 degrees Celsius. There won't be a lot more of these, so we're going to go enjoy it, but I'll show up in the dining room with a slice of this later on. Well, we enjoyed our walk. Hope you enjoyed those few photographs and that little video clip. We walk that trail quite frequently up to the lower duck pond. It's a beautiful location and it has a nice deck to sit on and enjoy the sun after you get there. We probably stayed for an hour or more, I guess. I'm reading. I read with my iPhone. Ken Follett, my favorite author, has just put out another book in the series of the Pillar of the Earth. This one is called The Evening and the Morning. I just love that series. I read everything that Ken ever published, but that series has got to be my favorite, and I've been waiting now for quite a while for the fourth one to come out. Well, I've cut the pie, as you can see. The crust is quite nice, I think. I haven't eaten it yet, but the pears, I was worried that they might get too soft, but the Asian pears tend to be crisp like an apple, not soft like the other kind of pears are. And they withstood the baking quite nicely. They still have lots of texture. Very good with all that cinnamon and sugar on them too. Delicious. Let's see if I can get some of the crust with my next one here. The link to the recipe for the pear pie, also has a pastry recipe in it. But if you want the one that I use, you have to take some notes. It's quite simple, but take some notes of the ingredients. And it is delicious. Anything's better with ice cream, right? Bottom of the crust is done nicely. Well, enough of listening to me talk with my mouth half full. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you're interested, you can try a pear pie. It's the first time I've ever had pie with pears in it. Thank you for watching.